Actually, having free will is a blessing that is reserved for very few people. Most of this world, women and men, are bonded. They're slaves to their destiny. They cannot do much. Have you ever looked into the eyes of the garbage collector? Especially in India, the people that clean the streets, the vegetable lady who's been coming to your house for the last 40 years. Your servants that have been working 10 years in the house. Sometimes even the beauty parlors that you go to, that I've been going to for 17 years, there is no change. The same job they're doing for the last 15, 20, 30 years. They didn't wake up saying that my life, I'm going to become a Walmart clerk at the checkout counter. But they don't have a choice. They don't have a choice. They are tied down and shackled by their own minds. See, all the success stories that you hear, in all these celebrities that you've made it big, you hear after that they've become successful, right? And then they tell you, oh, I had a dream and I pursued my dream with a passion and that's why it worked out. So what happened to the others? 10 NBA players made it to the team. And what happened to the other 105 that tried so hard? And at some point, because of some circumstance in their life, they had to follow a different path. The quality of your thoughts, the extent to which you listen to the voice in your head, opens up pathways for you. You always have two sets of voices talking to you. Ganesh, don't take this job. Too much work. It's too far away. It's a new line for you. It's very difficult. Much better stick to what you know. Don't try this. But there is another voice that is waiting to be heard that says, go for it. If you don't do it now, then when? Come on, you've got to be bold. Try something different for a change. You know, Lalita's working. There's always backing for you. Go and do it now. This is the time. And you are stuck in the middle.
Nothing is happening.
You don't know which path to. Now the voice that you listen to is your will. Is your will. In this moment, whichever choice you make, this voice or the other voice, I'm not saying good or bad, I'm saying this voice and the other voice, that is going to open up different destinies for you. So your destiny is predetermined in the sense that everything was predetermined when you look back. Right? You say that I was supposed to get to this point in my life to get here. It is a very good way of writing off certain things. But you have a choice. I always say you have a choice. And the primary choice that you have is the choice to be happy. And I don't care what they talk about free will in the economic sense, in the medical sense, in any other sense. If you take this, if you exert your free will to choose happiness, everything else will fall into place in your life. Because what happens is that people get bogged down by circumstances in their life. Right? So those Walmart clerks, they had choices too. They could have taken on a loan and gone into college. Or they could have succumbed to the pressure in the family that there's no money, that nothing's happening, and they started this career. See, there is always a choice. There is always a choice. You have to own what you pick. You can pick this or you can pick the other. And even if you go down that path and you find that it didn't work for you, there is always another choice. You can take another path. You can walk back, start over. And haven't we seen it in this country? How people start over. I was so inspired after 9/11, after Katrina. You know how this, especially in America, I see people have tremendous strength and courage, in the face of all kinds of odds, to fight for what they believe in, to fight for what is right. They have this ability to start over. What is the fear? What is the fear? The fear is that, oh my God, it may not work. That is the fear. That it may not work at some point in the future. And can you at this moment solve a problem in the future? Can you? Is it even possible? Anything that you can take action for right now is all that matters. And in this moment, you have 100% free will. Nothing is predetermined for you. It all depends on the voice you listen to. And yes, where that is concerned, ultimately, there is no choice. Right? There is no free will. The truth, unfortunately, is horribly contradictory. So you'll always find that people that are giving you answers never give you straight answers, and the reason is because there is nothing that's one straight answer. What works for you is not what works for you is not what works for you. But if you think about it, there is no free will. Why? Can you control any of your thoughts? Can you control anything? Can you stop it from coming? If you could stop your thoughts, then you have control over everything. Does it stop for even 1 minute? Even as you're thinking that I want the thoughts to stop, saying, oh, you're thinking that I want the thoughts to stop. It requires tremendous effort to pull back and watch this drama play out. That's what is the attempt here. The attempt here is to get you all on a path where you all are able to observe this whole thing playing out. This man sitting in the middle, this woman sitting in the middle, and these voices that come on their own. You do nothing to call them. Half the time you don't even realize that you're listening to some commentary going on until you're in the middle of the commentary. You've been listening to it for the last 5-10 minutes. You see, if you've got a little bit of awareness, then you say, what am I doing? If you don't, you can become thoroughly miserable. You can make all the wrong choices. And you can ruin your life. See, there are always choices. There are always choices. And I when my daughter went to DC, I told her, I said, you can be the next Indra Nooyi. or you can just fall by the wayside. The choice is yours. It depends on the voices you're listening to. There are those voices saying, come on, work hard, you got to put in the effort right now, And then there's the other voices, hey, you work really hard, now you need to relax, all your friends are meeting at the bar, come on, everyone's doing it these days, everyone needs to let off a little steam. Which voice are you going to listen to? Which voice? One mistake you make can swing the balance. Yes, of course, you have free choice, you have free will. But how are you going to exercise that free will? See, we don't teach our children this. We don't teach our children to listen to the voices in their heads. Because in spite of, having especially if you have two children or, to compare, you may give them the same instruction, the same background, the same upbringing, but both kids will react to this world differently. Because they have a lot of other messages going in. The movies they see, the school that they go to, the social milieu, what's happening on their phone. So many things are happening in their lives. And the voices in their heads are different. You can't control that. You can't control that. The best, the most prudent thing is to teach them from a very young age to think for themselves, meaning to be able to analyze a situation instead of telling them what to do. What is going on? On the one hand, this is good for me. On the other hand, maybe these are the things that are not so good for me. We don't teach them. We tell them, you're not going to go out with these boys, this girl on a play date. Sorry. Why? Because I say so. I've done it. I'm guilty. So many times I've not done it. But we enable our kids and make them victims of their own mind as they grow older. So you'll find there are times that you're completely connected to your source and you feel that this whole world is opening up for you. In those moments, when you're connected, it's a sense of expansion, sense that everything is exactly the way you have planned it. Your life and the universal energies are in complete alignment. And there are times when you feel it's all in contradiction, that everything in the world is going against you. What do you do in those times? When things are good, when things are happy, when things are perfect, who is thinking about free will? Right? It's only when things are going bad, then you say that, God is not doing this for me. My destiny is terrible. Things, never work out. I'm not going to believe in God. The first person you forsake is God when things are not going good. What happened to your free will there? What happened to it then? Your free will, I can do exactly as I please, but things don't go well, with the choice that you make. You go on a vacation and it turns out to be a terrible place, and you have no food to eat and nothing. What happens to free will then? Do you take responsibility for it then? What are the voices saying to you, and which ones are you listening to? We can't blame our destiny for everything. All I know is that whatever you were intended for, whatever you took this birth for, you have everything that you need for that birth, for whatever you intend to do. What you do with it is really up to you. You can pick this and you can pick that, but ultimately you really don't have any control. So I hope I've confused the heck out of you. Because this is what it's all about. Thinking about this. That's what makes life interesting.